Yes, let's talk about hockey, the show that journeys through the history of the sport of ice hockey from its disputed origins to the game we see today. Continuing with our look at the NHL expansion class of 1967 that doubled the NHL size and ended the era of the original six, we come to the team that cropped up in the land of a thousand lakes, the Minnesota North Stars.
Derived from the state's motto, L'Étoile du Nord, which is a French phrase meaning the Star of the North, the new Minnesota club's name was announced on May 25, 1966, following a public contest. Ground was then broken on October 3, 1966, for a new hockey arena in Bloomington, Minnesota, and after 12 months and $7 million, the home of the North Stars, the Metropolitan Sports Center, was ready for the start of the 1967-68 NHL season. On October 11, 1967, the first puck was dropped for the North Stars in their road game against the St. Louis Blues, in what would end up being a 2-2 draw. The North Stars achieved a good level of success early, sitting atop the West Division halfway through the 1967-68 season. However, tragedy struck on January 13, 1968, when forward Bill Masterton suffered a fatal hit during a game against the Oakland Seals. Skating towards the Seals' goal across the blue line, Masterton fell backwards from an opponent's check, hitting the back of his head on the ice, rendering him unconscious. He would never regain consciousness and died on January 15, 1968, at the age of 29, 2 days after the accident due to a massive brain injury. To this date, this remains the only death as a result of an injury during a game in NHL history. To honor their fallen teammate, the North Stars retired his jersey number, and later that year, hockey writers established the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy, which would be given annually to a player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. Following the news of Masterton's death, the North Stars lost their next 6 games, but still managed to finish in 4th place in the West Division with a record of 27-32-15, and advanced to the playoffs. During the 1968 playoffs, the North Stars would go down 2-0 in their opening series against the second-ranked Los Angeles Kings. However, Minnesota rallied and succeeded in upsetting the Kings in 7 games to advance to the semifinals to play St. Louis. Once again, the North Stars took their opponent to a 7th game, and were 1 win away from the Stanley Cup Finals. But this time they would lose, as the Blues netted the game and series winner in double overtime to send Minnesota packing. The North Stars would hit a skid in their second year, winning just above half of what they did their first year, and finishing dead last in the West Division. But while only improving their record by 9 points the following season, the North Stars were able to barely manage a berth in the 1970 playoffs, finishing only 2 points above Oakland and Philadelphia. However, this playoff run would be short-lived, as Minnesota was once again ousted by St. Louis, this time in the opening round after a 6-game series. For the 1970-71 season, thanks in part to the offensive output of Jude Drouin, Bill Goldsworthy, and Danny Grant, the North Stars upped their win total from the previous year, and this time were able to get the better of the St. Louis Blues in their opening playoff round, beating them 4-2. However, in round 2, Minnesota was paired against the Montreal Canadiens, who had just pulled off an unbelievable upset of the defending champions from Boston in the first round. With Montreal's hot rookie Ken Dryden denying Minnesota's scoring attempts, the North Stars were once again stopped just shy of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Over the next 8 seasons, the North Stars would suffer 3 first-round knockouts during the playoffs, and another 5 seasons of not even getting to the playoffs. In addition, the club had to compete with the 2 incarnations of the World Hockey Association's Minnesota Fighting Saints from 1972 to 1977, a struggle that succeeded in adding to the financial hurt that the North Stars were already feeling from their less than stellar performances during these years. By 1978, attendance had tailed off so rapidly that the league feared that the franchise was on the verge of folding. At this point, the owners of the equally strapped Cleveland Barons Club stepped in with an unprecedented solution, merging the North Stars with the Barons.
While the club kept the North Stars name, it was moved from the then 5-team Smythe Division to assume the Barons' place in the Adams Division for the 1978-79 season. Bolstered by the addition of Gilles Malache from the merger and the draft of 1979 Rookie of the Year Bobby Smith, as well as winger Steve Payne, who racked up 42 goals and 85 points for the North Stars in the 1979-1980 season, Minnesota made it back to the postseason in 1980 after a 2-year absence. After a dominating first-round sweep of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Minnesota was paired against the 4-time defending Stanley Cup champion Montreal Canadiens for their second-round series. Minnesota surprised Montreal by taking the first 2 games of the series in dominating fashion on the Canadiens' home ice, but Montreal rebounded with equally dominant wins in the next 3 games to set the North Stars on the verge of elimination. However, Minnesota stayed alive with a 5-2 victory in Game 6 before putting an end to the 4-year Montreal dynasty with a dramatic 3-2 win in Game 7.
Unfortunately, this amazing playoff run came to an end for Minnesota in the 3rd round at the hands of top-ranked Philadelphia, who put the North Stars down after 5 games to advance to the 1980 Stanley Cup Finals. Despite this disappointment, though, the late-season acquisition of Minnesota native and ex-1980 Olympian Neil Broughton and sniper Dino Ciccarelli in the 1980-81 season that followed helped the North Stars go on another good playoff run.
After sweeping Boston in the first round and beating Buffalo in 5 games during the second round, Minnesota found themselves 1 step shy of the Stanley Cup Finals once again, with their opponent taking the form of the Calgary Flames. This time, though, the North Stars would not fall short, giving up only 2 games to Calgary to win the series 4-2 and make it to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in their club's history. In the finals, though, they took on the defending Stanley Cup champion New York Islanders, and aside from preventing a sweep with a 4-2 Game 4 victory, there were very few bright spots to Minnesota's eventual defeat after 5 games. Following this spectacular playoff run, Minnesota would put up only 4 more winning seasons over the next 12 years, which included 2 Norris Division championships in 1982 and 1984, as well as 1 more trip to the Stanley Cup Finals in 1991, where they fell to the Penguins in 6 games. Come the conclusion of the 1992-93 season, the team was relocated from the far north to the deep south, as the Minnesota North Stars became the Dallas Stars that many are familiar with today. Luckily, this did not spell the end for NHL hockey in Minnesota, as 7 years later, the Minnesota Wild joined the league for the 2000-2001 season as part of the NHL's last expansion class, bringing professional hockey back to the Star of the North.